Okay,
Okay.
let's get started with how we what inheritance means and how we deal with it in Python. So inheritance basically is extending the qualities or properties of one class to another class.
Hmm.
It is
Okay.
if, let's take an example of parent and the children, right? So whatever quality
Right.
children is going to possess from his parent will be a part of the parent. So if you
Hmm.
say that the class has been inherited from a class, the subclass, we call this inherited class a subclass, and the class from which it is inherited a superclass. So all the properties of
Okay.
the superclass are going to be accessible from
Hmm.
the subclass. I'll let's
Okay.
look at a demo of how that makes sense in Python. Mm, mm.
Is my video sharing or it's not? No, right?
Video,
Hello.
sorry.
Is my can you see my video or
No, no, I can't see any video.
yes? I can't see. Oh, yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So just for a recap of what we discussed in the last class, this is going to be
Yes.
the structure of a class, and
Right.
initialize init double underscore init double underscore is going to be the initializer function, and for every
Hmm.
method that we write inside a class, we are going to pass a self parameter, and self is going to represent
Right.
the object that we create from the class, and all the parameters that we pass, I mean that we access using self are going to be accessible from the object, and any variable without self is not accessible from the object, I mean outside the
Right.
class. And
Yes.
as we discussed, if you had implemented these methods, I'll review the code that you wrote.
Yeah, but I didn't use this pass command.
You
I
should
didn't use this pass.
You should not use pass. Pass is like a placeholder. I wrote the statement
Okay.
just because we should not leave it
Okay.
blank.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So what whenever you write a function as a with a pass statement, it is considered as an abstract method. You just made
I
it.
mean, if we run this method, it will just pass it.
Yeah,
That's it.
it won't do anything.
Without any command in it, it will fail. So just you have written this pass. That's it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So where we use this the functionality that where are we going to use this functionality is we have a class called abstract class in object oriented
Mm-hmm.
Python. So abstract class is something that we define and we leave it, we don't use it, we don't write the logic, and the client who
Okay.
is going to work on it will be using that same method names and write his own logic.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly it is used in frameworks like Android or Django to extend, to customize the functionality of the framework.
Okay.
We'll see about that in detail in the coming classes. So for so about inheritance, let me create a new file, and so there is a classic example of inheritance, right? Let's say we have a class with the name shape, and so inside shape we have a method called um, let's say init. So in initializer we say self dot what do you say, shape, let's say, is equal to I'll pass shape here. I'm don't get confused because I'm using the same variable name everywhere.
That,
Even,
yeah,
even
that's
though I'm using the same variable name, because of the scope, it is going to be different
mhm,
from. It is a parameter, so even though it has the same name, it is different from this class variable, which is in the class scope.
self. Okay.
Anyway, I have to change the name now. Now, what we do, this is a simple class, right?
Sorry?
This is a simple class. I have only an initializer. I don't have anything else. I just have a parameter
Right. Yeah.
which is shape.
Yes, yes. Huh.
So instead of s, what I'll do is I'm fixing the shape to a generic shape.
Okay.
And whenever you say, let's say area
Hmm.
says for area you need to pass um, instead of area, let's say description of cell. So what this does is when you are called description on shape, it will print I am
Hmm.
good shape. Yeah.
Okay.
Now let's create another class which is basically let's call it circle, and let's say
Okay.
it, so this is what this means. Writing some class name inside brackets after the class means that you are inheriting the class.
Calling. I mean, here the shape is the class, right?
Circle is our main class and it is inheriting from the shape class.
How we can say that this is the main class?
So how do you define a class? Usually, you will.
Yeah, class, like, before you define, right? Class shape is defining the class.
Yeah. So if you want to create,
Okay, class circle is also defining a class.
yeah. So this is how you define a new class. Now, if you want to
Yes.
say that, dear class circle, I want you to get all the parameters that shape class has. So you write that. I mean,
Hmm.
syntax to write that. So
Okay.
this is how you do it. Once you write like this, what Python
Okay.
understands is that I need to get all the parameters. I need to basically inherit the all the properties of shape class into circle class. So if I
Okay.
go here and write in it, this is dot shape into circle description. I don't have to write description at all here. So if I don't write
Okay.
description, let's say this inheritance demo. If I run this now, let's say we need to create something. Okay, let's say s equals to a shape.
Cir- no, circle, right?
Yeah, we'll create both. C is a circle.
Okay, you're calling both both the
Yeah,
classes.
okay, maybe. So C dot. If I s-
Description.
yeah, if I write
Yes.
this inside class circle class, we don't have a method called description, right?
Description, right? Yes.
But anyway, I have called this thing. So let's see if this works or not. So when I call description from circle class, it says
Hmm.
I am a generic shape.
Right.
So what this means is circle has inherited description from its superclass, and even though I didn't
Okay.
write a method with the name DESC there, it called the description method from its superclass.
So now class shape is the superclass.
Yes, because we are inheriting all the parameters from shape to the circle class.
So we'll inherit the class only from the superclass.
Yeah, whatever.
Now, can we inherit circle again
Yeah,
to some other class?
yeah, we can. It is called multiple inheritance. Sorry, multi-level inheritance.
Oh,
What you just said
multi-level.
is, let's say, small circle. This can inherit circle. Okay, so if you call small circle again,
There is no self in defining it.
oh sorry, thanks. So you let's well okay. So if I run this now, so we get the same output again. So for let me give a better example here. Let
Mhm.
me take a class with name. We have seen only inheritance of functions here, right? Methods. Let's see how we can
Mhm.
inherit the properties also, like the class variables. I am
Okay.
defining a class with name animal. So inside init, I'll write self dot. What can we say? For animal, what are the common properties? Number of eyes, let's say. All animals are going to have number of eyes as two, and all animals, let's say, will have number of legs as two, and what are the some common properties I'm trying to search for, like self dot is wild or domestic is wild. So I'm so is wild is basically says it's a wild animal or a domestic animal. If it is false, it is a domestic animal. If it is true, it is a wild animal. So these are the three properties that we have. Let's say I give number of legs as four, and let's say maybe when you say cry, a generic animal. It says I'm a generic animal. Okay, so I'm extending the animal to dog now. So for dog, so here along with this, let's write I have um, um, if self dot is wild, print wild. else and all the domestic animal. Here I am overriding now. I say dog is not a wild animal, so I change it to false, and
Okay.
remaining will be same. So let's.
Mm-hmm.
I missed I think class here. Okay. So
And
now,
main is also class only, right? Define instead of define animal, it's class animal. The first one.
oh yeah, sorry. Okay. So now I'm not writing cry here. So animal, let's
Right.
see what animal cry is. But we should actually change it because dog says bark. We'll do that once we see what happens. Okay, I need to initialize
Didn't fall.
b equal to dog, b dot cry. Okay, dog, it says dog has no attribute number of eyes. Okay. So I think we should also we cannot directly use properties it seems.
Mhm.
Uh, okay, so we cannot directly use integers inside of this thing inside of a string.
Okay.
Okay, so whatever we wrote using self is going to be accessible inside the class, and these are going to be if you want to access a parameter outside the I mean the subclass, you need to make
Mm.
them static variables. Like if now
That
what
means the variables have to be defined globally, not inside a method.
no, this is not a global variable. If I
Like inside a class, it has to be written, but not inside a method.
yeah exactly. So if I write something here, this is going to be a global variable. So this is still inside
Yeah.
class, but this will be a static variable which will be accessible to all the all the children of animal class and not outside anything else. We write something like print number of eyes plus number of eyes. Here it will throw an error because we don't have number of eyes in the global scope, but we have it only in the class scope of animal.
Okay.
Okay. Says number of eyes is not different.
So if I have a same function called animal
Okay.
in the same file,
You mean a method?
then like outside, uh, like the indentation should be there from the starting of the for define animal.
Sorry, it was not clear.
No, the define animal, the indentation should be from the starting of the
Okay.
page.
So you want to create it?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if I have a same method, same function,
Mhm.
define animal in the same file, and you're inheriting this animal inside a class, right?
Yeah.
So at that time, what it will take?
Oh, nice question actually. That I haven't tried it before, but let's
Okay.
see what happens.
Okay.
Global function inside of the file. Print one. Okay, so whenever so instead of this, I will say animal, and now when I create a new class, init will automatically be called, and it will print I am the animal class.
Right.
And
Right.
let's
D equal to dog.
and no, we don't need a dog now. We are just checking with the animal class and method, right? So,
No, no, no. Even in the dog, you are calling this animal.
hmm,
Um, Animal means whether it will take the class or the function which is there outside the. I
that
mean, there is a function called animal.
usually like
Which one it will?
it is supposed to take the class animal,
Mm-hmm.
but since we have the same name function with the same name here, I'm expecting an error, but I'm
Okay.
not sure. So let's run it and see. Okay, so I think it has the class that we wrote here. The
Okay.
we have defined the annual class with the same name, right? So this
Right.
has overwritten the function definition that we had with the same name. But let's say if I move this function definition from the beginning to the end of this, so if let's try to run this. So what you see now, now what you're able to see is the function. So it is a matter of precedence. Whatever you write later in the file is going to overwrite whatever you wrote uh, initially.
Okay. Can you call this class dog also now? D equal to dog.
This should give some error. Okay.
No, if you say d dot cry, it will anyways go to that. I mean, go to that function and print. If you just call d equal to dog, it should have. As
Mm,
it has init function, it will go and print this init only.
yeah, uh, it should have printed the annual class, right?
Right. Right.
No, this init gets called only when you create something like this. So usually the brackets that you are giving
No.
here.
No. When we call this d equal to dog,
Mhm.
okay, it will go to this class dog, and it will init first, and it will set wild as false.
Yeah,
As we have passed this animal here, it should go to this class, right? The class animal, or it will just inherit only the
yeah,
properties from that.
yeah, it won't go to the class per se, but whenever you say
It
like
will.
this,
Okay.
so it is like a shortcut. Inheriting the class is like a shortcut. Being not, you don't have to write the same thing again. It is saying that okay, Python, just copy these two. I mean the methods and parameters that we have inside this class into this class. So if you look at the compile code, so what
Okay.
you will be seeing in the dog class is going. There is going to be a function like this,
Okay.
which is which basically will be replicated inside this class. So
So, but whenever we need to call any methods inside this class animals, again we have to do like this only d dot cry.
yeah,
We have to give like
exactly. You have to create an annual class again and then call that.
oh
Unit will be called.
here the okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, here the properties means only the variables like what we are defining, only that only, right? Not the methods what we have. Even the methods, properties means everything, or only the is there any restriction?
No, properties means these static variables that we have here, which hold a value.
Mm-hmm.
Those are called properties. And methods
Okay.
are different from properties. We don't include methods in properties. So
But
basically, when you
when we are calling the method, it's when we are calling the method which is in another class
Mhm.
from this dog class, it
Yeah,
is working, right? So even it is inheriting that also.
yeah, both properties and methods will be inherited when you subclass a method.
Okay.
So it is basically saying that copy these two variables into this class and also this method into this class.
Okay.
Okay, and one more thing that I wanted to say was just give me a minute. I'm not able to. Yeah. So basically, when you take an object, right? So it is going to have some properties. Let's say there is object you are trying to model an object car, and
Okay.
how to convert it into a to convert it from a real life object to a Python code or some program. You need to identify two aspects of it. So one of it is the properties, and the other one is
Okay.
behavior. So the
The other one is
behavior.
behavior. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So for a car, the properties are going to be how many wheels does it have, or how long it is, how big it is, and is it automatic or is it a uh, normal? Uh, does it have gears? So all these things are going to be properties. So the physical things that are present there. So the behavior is going to be
Mm-hmm.
start the engine and drive it and driving. Usually the verbs where the work gets done. But in the same way, in animal case, the properties are going to be number of legs and what is the physical appearance of it are going to be all the properties of it. Is it big animal, small animal? What is the size of it and how many legs does it have? All these are properties. Whereas behavior is going to be how does it bark, what does it eat, all these things, right? So behaviors
Yes.
are nothing but the methods inside the class. So this trying here, if you want to define the same thing here, you should say uh, so each animal is going to have a different cry, right? So whenever you have something different, you're going to overwrite it.
Okay.
Okay, so this if you define the same define a method with the same name, it is going
It
to
will overwrite. Okay.
yeah it will over. This is a concept which is called as polymorphism in object-oriented programming principles, and we'll come to it
Mm-hmm.
in a short while. So
Okay.
as of the current topic, now do you have a good understanding of what inheritance does to a class? How do we create a
Okay.
from a superclass? Okay, so um, what can I tell? Look at the assignment later. Now let's go to
So is it mandatory that the class animal should be above this class dog animal?
yeah exactly. It should be because
Okay.
Because Python is an interpreted language, it runs the code line by line,
Okay.
and
Okay.
it won't understand animal if you write it before defining it.
Okay.
Okay, so similar to this, right? I want to I want you to implement a class with person as the main class. So person has properties of um, let's say person does not have any properties per se, or just to
Mm-hmm.
make sure the inheritance works fine, give him a property of uh,
Jobs or different works he does.
yeah, we'll do that using subclass. We can
Mm-hmm.
what is a common property of all people? Is adult. Okay, you can give property, is he adult or not, or
Okay.
boolean. Okay, so some unchanging property. Let's say, okay, I'm not able to find some common thing.
Male or female?
Yeah,
Male or female?
even that will change. Yeah, we can add that. Yeah, there. So text. Now, the method should be the amount of salary. It should return the amount of salary that is paid.
Okay.
So this is going to be a method and
Mm-hmm.
properties. So let's say there is a subclass student um, person, and he will have what should I say? Adult is going to be false, gender also will be there, and salary will return zero, and next class should be um, doctor. Let's say
Okay.
these two are going to be same for all of them. Like you can access.
Mm-hmm.
So salary. mm, okay. It will return this string.
Okay.
Similarly, you can say lawyer, and you can write like you can add any other methods, other behavior that you
Yes.
define. Okay, like
Okay.
PSP or whatever. You think of it and you can write something. Okay, so basically, want you to implement these
Okay.
methods so that you have a hands-on on the inheritance.
Sure.
Okay, so I'll send you this file.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now let us look at what method overloading and method overriding means, and
Okay.
we'll wind up this class after that. Okay. So,
Okay.
animal. Okay. So overriding basically means defining the function with the same name in the subclass. So now if I run this function, so inside animal when I call animal dot cry, it is
Mm-hmm.
going to print uh, all this, and when I
Right.
call the same cry from dog, even though
Mm-hmm.
it's inheriting from animal, it is going to say bark.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so the this is from the init method of the animal class. This is from the cry
Mm-hmm.
animal class, and this is
Right.
my method of the dog class.
Okay.
So,
This is overriding, right?
yes, overriding. So it is going to wipe out whatever it is already there, and is going to write new thing. So now let's go back to our shape class and define a method called um, actually let's go to the shape class. So instead of now for method overloading, we should have all the methods inside the same class. So overloading basically means like you are using the same class again and again, but with more. You are using it for the functionality that single class, single function cannot provide. It is you are overloading the functionality on the method. So a typical example is like you use the same lorry to carry more people above its capacity. That means overloading,
Mm-hmm.
right, in the physical normal sense. So
Right.
in the same way, in this, you are using the same method over its capacity to do other functions.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say inside a shape, I have a method called area, and for this, I'm passing uh, two variables. Let's say I'm creating okay, let's get rid of the circle class. Let's say we have only shape class and nothing else.
Okay.
So to calculate the area, let's say we need to calculate the area of a circle.
Right.
I'll import math. There is a library in Python called math, which has the value
Mm.
of pi. So I can directly import pi from math like this. So we'll return pi r square. Okay. Now this is usually how we define a method inside a class. But if
Mm.
if I'm going to define the same method again with a with a different set of parameters like a and b instead of single variable.
Mm-hmm.
So this is still valid. This totally works. And let's say we need to calculate the area of a rectangle. So I say a into b. So what happens is
Okay.
when we are using this same area function, its capacity is actually single parameter, but we have
Mm.
loaded with two parameters now, and overloaded
Okay.
two parameters, and we are using the same function. So usually the
Okay.
when the method is supposed to do only one thing, we are making it to do two things. So
Right.
this is a direct translation of polymorphism from Greek to English, making do more things, many things. Okay. So
Okay.
if we let's try to call shape, initialize shape. I say area of let's say 2 units. And this area of area with radius units. Okay, so area with length 205 units. Be area of- So when we run this, what is the thing that we got? 18. Okay, it says it needs two variables. It should have actually. I don't see why it is asking for using argument B. Let's say it's past 2.5 here. Okay, so let me try to do the same thing outside a class. Yeah, mistake. So instead of install area, let's say area. Okay, we don't need a self. Yeah. Okay.
Outside a class also it is.
Yeah, it's not working outside a class as well. Mm, okay, I'm lost now. Okay, let's bring this out and see what happens. Okay, so why is not method overloading? Okay, I'll have to check on this. Let's see if method we can do overloading Python. Okay, so So in Python, it says we don't need to define two functions for this. We can have a default value for the second one. Let's say you want to use only one function, right? For this.
Mm.
So instead of defining it again, in Java you do that. Whatever we did now is
Mm-hmm.
is a typical case of how we define in Java. Let's say we have two variables here, A and B. So I say B is equal to none, and if B is none, let's say B is none, then return phi or phi into A. Okay. So when we pass only one variable like this,
Okay.
so we don't have to create one more function which says which has two variables. So inside the same function, you can pass default value for the other one, and whenever you pass only one value, it is going to take the other value as none,
Okay.
and else it will return A into B. So if you run the same thing again, is dot, okay, and you need to let's try it without the object or without extending object. Okay, so now we got different results from each of the functions, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
only restriction in Python is that you cannot have two functions with the same name. Like we saw about the animal class and animal function, you cannot have a
Okay.
same name for a class and a function. You cannot also have same name for two functions.
Okay.
So in Python,
So we can define how many values you want in that
yeah,
method. I mean method or function, and we can call those.
yes, exactly. So you need to, but only thing is you need to pass some default value for it. Otherwise, it will throw an error. As
Yeah.
long as you have default value, you don't have to pass it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that is a slight difference between. So the same thing in Java, you're going to write it the way that we wrote before. You'll have to write a function with a single variable, two variables. So and then Java will figure out based on the number of variables how which function to call. But it is a bit equal to cube also. Equal to, and you are familiar with how to conditional statements, right?
Hello. Your voice is breaking.
Oh, sorry. Is it clear now?
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's a little bit low.
Okay. So you are comfortable with using conditionals in Python, right? If you,
Your voice is very low. Like I can't hear it.
so, okay, let me. If there is some problem. Okay, is it fine now? Hello.
It's still low. Yeah, yeah, I can hear you, but it's very low.
There is some. I guess my network is very fluctuating here.
Okay.
So call audio.
Okay.
So can I do a phone call?
Yeah, I'm connected through phone.
No, it will call you on your mobile number.
Okay.
If I change it to phone. But if this is fine, it is almost the end of the session. So Uh,
Okay.
if, it, if you're able to figure out like what I'm trying,
Yes, yes. Yeah, I can hear it.
yeah. So I want you to extend this function to a cube.
Hmm.
Uh, let's say if you pass
Cube. Okay.
one more variable, you need to return the volume of the cube, like a into b into c.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
using if you'll have to say if
If L.
b and c are none, do this. If
Hmm.
only c is none, do
Sure.
this. Okay, I'll
Okay.
send you these two files, so you can
Hmm.
send me on the email ID that I've shared with you.
You already shared the email ID?
Yeah, on this chat in GoToMeeting itself. Otherwise, I'll share it with you on WhatsApp also.
Okay.
Okay, so we discussed
Yeah.
about what is inheritance and how do you create a subclass for any class,
Okay.
and what method overloading and what method overriding means. We have seen example for method overloading. We'll see an example of method overriding on animal object using cry method,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
so those are the two types of polymorphism. We will discuss a bit more in conceptual level on polymorphism in the next class, and
Okay.
data hiding and encapsulation will also be discussed in the next class. Okay.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yeah. Thank you so much.